Hi, my name is Allie, and today I'm going to talk about a problem that hits pretty close to home, actually right in Chapel Hill. Let's get started. Today, we're going to dive into the housing crisis in Chapel Hill right now and how it's impacting both UNC students and local residents. Um, Whether you're a student at UNC, a big Tar Heel fan, or just a longtime local of Chapel Hill, you've likely noticed that the rent is spiraling out of control. Today, we're just going to be exploring what's at stake, what can be done about it, and how this problem is going to continue if there's not a solution that's proposed. So let's start with the basics. According to Raleigh Realty, Chapel Hill has become one of the most expensive cities to live in North Carolina. And according to Rent.com, the average price for a one-bedroom apartment in Chapel Hill is $1,750 per month, which is astronomically higher than what it used to be. And the situation is only really getting worse because rent prices have increased by 17% since 2022, and the cost of living in Chapel Hill has also increased. It's already 22% higher than the national average, and it's expected to continue growing. So not only prices are high, but vacancy rates remain very, very low. It's very hard to find housing in Chapel Hill, let alone find affordable housing. Many students rely on off-campus housing in areas like Carborough or Southern Durham, but commuting also adds pressures because parking is limited at UNC, and it also adds extra costs for students or families like transportation, time, things like that. The university currently has about 32,000 students, including undergraduates, graduates, and professional students. But on-campus housing can really only accommodate around 8,500 to 9,000-ish students, leaving almost three-fourths of students trying to scramble for off-campus housing each year. And on-campus housing is actually having quite a problem as well, having to turn away transfer students and also students that apply after the deadline for the application process for on-campus housing. There's just not enough housing units to go around for the students of UNC. So additionally, UNC's zoning regulations restrict the construction of affordable housing. Much of the new developments focus on high-end apartments, luxury townhouses. I know that there's a new apartment that just opened last year, and the rent prices there are extreme. And this trend leads to gentrification, forcing out low-income residents and longtime locals who can no longer afford the rising property taxes and rent. So that is another big issue right now going on at UNC. So now let's talk about what's at stake for both the university and the population of Chapel Hill. Housing doesn't really just affect where people live, it also has serious ripple effects throughout the community. Local families are also facing hard choices. In the past decade, median house values in Chapel Hill has risen about 70% according to the US Census Bureau. Another growing concern is homelessness. The Orange County Partnership to End Homelessness reported that as of 2023, over 140 people were experiencing homelessness in the Chapel Hill area, and many of them cite the lack of affordable housing as a key barrier to finding stability in a housing environment. So, for my advocacy project, I want to raise awareness about the housing crisis in Chapel Hill and promote community-based solutions. So, here's how I plan to tackle that. I think that a social media campaign with testimonials from students and local residents would be great. I'd interview both students and local residents to collect personal stories about their experiences with the housing challenges. These testimonials shared through TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube can help build empathy and show the human impact behind the statistics of Chapel Hill. I think another cool thing would be an interactive digital map of the Chapel Hill housing trends. With that, I would create a visual map showing places where rent is the highest, where new developments are being built, and which neighborhoods have seen the most displacement. And the map could include data from Zillow, the US Census Bureau, and also just local housing reports to give viewers a clearer picture of what's happening across town and where they need to centralize the most attention. And I think that designing infographics or videos for social media that break down these policy ideas so that they're easier to understand and share online is paramount for the process. So, the heart of this project is really digital and online. The social media campaign will encourage students and residents to share their stories and interact directly with local decision makers. I'm also thinking about launching one of the WordPress websites that are free through the university that consolidate these resources. And through this website, residents and students alike will both have a consolidated way to receive information on the housing crisis in Chapel Hill and ways to take action against it. This project really aims to connect different groups across Chapel Hill and bring them together into the conversation about housing reform, both on campus, off campus, for locals, for students, for everyone. And at the end of the day, just making sure that everyone has a place to call home in Chapel Hill. So, in all, the housing crisis in Chapel Hill is a very complex issue, but it is one that affects us all. And whether you're a student struggling to find a place to live for next year or a longtime resident watching your neighborhood change, I think it's time to come together and find solutions for that. So, I hope that this project can spark some meaningful conversations and inspire people to get involved and make Chapel Hill a little more affordable and a little more inclusive.